everyone, this is Darwell20 and welcome to episode 73 of FTB Revelations, where a couple things I want to do today. So last episode we pretty much finished up our dragon killing system. It's working great. I've run it a few times since then, and it's really going pretty well. And I mean, we've got 32 dragon hearts, which ain't too shabby, right? If I'm being honest. Not too shabby. So a few things I want to do. Today I think I want to like get going with a few little nuances. I think we should get more withers cooking. I also want to check in on my orb up here because this thing's been running forever, and I'm just curious how it's doing. We're at 26. Is that it? 26 billion RF. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's billion with a B. So I'm gonna go out there and say yeah. But we're at 1.2% full. We're getting a net gain of 50,000 RF a tick, which is pretty good. It really is a lot. I haven't checked in on my nuclear stuff in a while. Another thing I'd love to do is tear this thing down. Because I think... Boop, boop. Yeah, I think that's a good plan, right? Definitely. Let's tear this thing down. I didn't check to be sure, but I'm almost positive. I'm almost positive that I have all the stuff I need. Let's upgrade this guy to the next tier. I like that plan. Yeah? Okay, that looks pretty cleared up. Alright, so if we were to get the guidebook for this guy, we'll just do a quick segue into upgrading this thing. The digital guide, and I think I even made my tier 3 void ore miner already. So I've already got the void ore miner part. I just need to make the structure frames and the structure panels. So how many of those do I need for a void ore miner tier 3? 56 tier 3 frames and 52 panels. Okay. So we need, I'm going to put you away and do 56 tier 3 frames, which I also already taught. I was kind of getting ready for this. 56 tier 3 frames, right? And that should go to town. And then 52 panels, right? So we already have 20, so I need 32 more. Sweet. Awesome, we have all the things we need. Okay. Now, how many speed modifiers can I put on there? 8 speed modifiers? Nice. So we've got 4 speed modifiers. I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is accuracy modifiers instead. Let me teach you how to make those. Oh, you require palladium and blocks of diamond and Lon's Delight. Palladium, I think, is the one we're going to get from tier 3, so I might not be able to do that yet. Well, let's do... What I'm going to do is get 4 of these. There's definitely a limit to how many speed modifiers you can put on there. I guess 2 is the number we're looking at. There's a limit to how many speed modifiers you can put on. And I forget what it is, but long story short, there reaches a point where if you add more speed modifiers, it will increase the RF cost greatly and not increase the speed. So, like, not only is it a bad idea to put it on there just because you're wasting the modifier slot, but you're just going to burn through a lot more RF per tick, which is, you know, bad. All around bad. All right, so that should be cool. That should be cool. I think we've got everything we need then. So now I just need this doohickey to do the thing. So tier 3 void ore miner. Let's go to town. All right. Forge energy per tick is 750. That's pretty cool. These things get big. We're only at tier 3. We can go up to tier 6. But it's going to go faster and faster every time, which is neat. Cool. Oh, that's right. I need another laser core. I forgot. I always need to... You need, like, one more laser core for every build, right? There we go. Built true. Nice. All right. So that's got 5 speed modifiers, right? So forge energy per tick, duration 32, right? So if I replaced you... 6608, 32. 7401, 32. See? See that? So we just demonstrated the old it drawing more energy, but not giving us a benefit. Cool. That's important. Important to note, right? So 6608, 32. So let's replace another one here and see what that looks like. 38. So that last modifier still does help a little bit, right? It's a little bit of a difference, but we should be getting some good and decent stuff now. We'll stick with that. Also, I have this just on, right? So as he mines, right, and he needs the power. I have the power. That's cool. So we should be getting a block out of this thing like once every 1.5 seconds, right? Roughly speaking. Hey, look, palladium. We're kind of all ready to get our modifier. Sweet. That's not what I want. I want that. There you go. So can I get accuracy modifiers now, you think? Because that would be cool. What am I missing? Oh, Lonsdaleite crystals. Those are just super rare. I mean, I could focus them if I wanted to, right? I totally could focus them if I wanted to. So black laser lens would get me a lot of those. Maybe at some point. I mean, yeah, so accuracy modifiers improves that percentage, right? So, for example, if we were talking about palladium, for example, right? It's 0.64 with a clear lens. You have a 3.68% chance with the crystal laser lens. Adding accuracy modifiers drives that 3.68 up further. And this whole time that I've been doing the talking and the things, my wither spawn's been running. How many nether stars did we get from that? Oh, 100 something. That's awesome. Like, I turned it on and accidentally forgot that I had turned it on. I don't think I've left it running that long yet, and I'm glad to see that it worked out all right. None of my withers got out. Well, that's a good thing. We survived. So the other thing I'd like to do is take a peek over at our nuclear site and see how things are doing over here. I think it's been a while since I've taken a look, but I'm just curious, right? Like, hey, what's going on? Let's get out our Geiger counter and see what's up. Nice. Hardly any radiation going on in this area, which is cool. A tiny little bit outside, maybe? Yeah, a little teensy bit, but like super minimal, right? Super minimal amount of radiation. That is cool. So effectively not really getting hardly any rads. That's awesome. I like it. I like it. And are all the guys running here? Like, you don't have any fuel, I'm guessing. There's a reason for that? Yeah, you're getting a little bit low. So there's TBU and LEU. The TBU's cooking, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess we've burned through a majority of our fuel. And to be fair, we've been letting this stuff run a lot, right? So we're like getting to the point where we're running low on fuel. Should we start looking at fusion, maybe? Might not be a bad plan. It's funny. Literally since the beginning of this episode, we actually just crossed the threshold of having enough nuclear fuel. Now, to be fair, I haven't been running any mining or anything. So, we could use some more uranium, right? Like, I've got the miner thing going, but it's not, So, it's not focusing uranium. It's focusing on, getting crystals so I can keep upgrading it. So with that said, stuff and things, right? We definitely have a net loss of power going on, so we should look at a new power gen kind of system. So what are some options for generating power? That's a good question, right? Like, we have a lot of power, right? And we started getting into draconic. Cool beans. Loving that we're into that. We should also look at, like, maybe getting a dragon egg generator, right? Maybe I should do that. I should totally make a dragon egg mill. I can do that, right? We just need some stone burnt. Okay, and that's just polished stone. I can make a stack of that into here and do the thing and tick accelerate, because that's what I do. Right? And then dragon egg mill shouldn't be too hard to pull off, I would think. I have redstone. Kind of like an eye of newt, but, redstone. So pop this dude back here. These guys are pretty straightforward the way they work. You place a dragon egg on top of it, and it makes a stupid amount of extra utilities power. 500, right? So now, like before we had 107, now we have 607. Because that's how that thing works. Very easy to set up. Very set it and forget it, right? Like, once you get the dragon egg, you don't have to worry about extra utilities power pretty much ever again. And that's fine with me. I don't need to worry about that, and I'm cool with it. So, power gen, right? Options. So, for ridiculous power gen options, we've got things like Draconic, but that requires killing the Chaos Dragon, which we'll probably do. I think we have to kill him twice, or is it 3 times to get enough chaos shards to support, you know, what we want to do. And just for giggles, is there any kind of automation involved that I can do here? I'm assuming not. Yeah, no, just the factorizer combine and split settings. So there's nothing to make chaos shards. I didn't think so, but you never know. You never know. There's the rainbow generator from X Utilities. That makes stupid amounts of power, right? We could totally look at doing that at some point. But I think I'd like to get into nuclear fusion, because I've played with it before. It generates a decent amount of power. And I think we can pull it off, right? So in order to do it, we're going to need the fusion core. We're going to need some fusion connectors, some electromagnets. Transparent ones are also cool. I should probably teach you guys how to make that. Let's consider fusion. However, before we can really get into fusion, I think one of the things we're going to absolutely need to make sure that we can do, and we only need 1 core, so I don't know if I need to teach you how to make the fusion core. Right, I think we'll hold off on that. But I will teach you how to make the connectors, and I will teach you to make the clear electromagnets, because clear is cool, right? I like seeing the inside of things. I like mods that are like, add a transparent version of their blocks, especially when there's something cool that happens inside. Like, there's this plasma that forms inside the electromagnets, and you know, earlier versions of the mod, there wasn't a transparent electromagnet, or maybe I just never saw it, so you never see the fusion, like the fusion plasma stuff, and it looks cool. And it's like, all right, it's nice that there's a clear see-through bit now. So that's what that's all about, and I'm excited for that. So, however, to really get going with fusion, we're going to have to look at hydrogen, right? Like, we're going to want copious amounts of hydrogen. Now, I'm sure that I've got a decent amount of... We've got 500 buckets of deuterium going on down here. And you, sir, have, like... I think you're hydrogen, aren't you? Right? Hydrogen. Yeah, we are using up all our hydrogen. So, that's a thing. Which one of you uses hydrogen? I don't even know. One of you guys does hydrogen, I presume. Is it this one? Is this the chemical reactor that takes hydrogen? Maybe. The borax stuff. Okay. I mean, we're getting a lot of it. That's cool. I'm guessing that you are sodium fluoride solution. So borax, let's just look. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's using up all my hydrogen, right? Boric acid is made with water and diborane, which is made with hydrogen and molten boron. So there you go. That's what it is. There's where the hydrogen's hiding. Molten boron plus hydrogen. Okay. So let's look at hydrogen. I know that it's very expensive to do the separating of a nuclear craft, right? So there's a few ways to make hydrogen. And I think in this pack, nuclear craft is really the only good way to go. Because you can get water or hydrofluoric acid. Water, obviously, getting you almost entirely hydrogen. Hydrofluoric acid is only 50% hydrogen. So there's really no reason to go with hydrofluoric acid. So water is the way to go. I mean, hydrofluoric acid has other things to get, but, you know, that's what's up. And diborane has a side effect of hydrogen coming out. I mean, I could have looped that back. I think I said void the excess hydrogen. Because at the time, I wasn't super worried about it. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking-ish. What's in you? Hydrogen. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I don't know how that happened, but we have hydrogen, apparently. Can I do that? And then, yes, you're cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is steal the deuterium that's here. So here's the deal, right? Deuterium. Actually, let's look at the fusion reactor. So just like fission fuels, and this one I'm not super good at. I mean, I wasn't good at fission fuels either, so I'm probably not so good at this one. There's many different fuel combinations you can pump into a fusion reactor, and you'll get many different fuel outputs. And then the fusion... The fuel has different attributes. Like, so there's the combination's lifetime, which is, I guess, how long the fuel burns for. The base max power, how much RF a tick you'll get. And the optimal temperature. So that's how hot the reactor needs to be before it can, do its thing. So what we're looking at here is basically kind of like the fission fuels, right? Different fuel combinations equal different amounts of power and different lifetimes, and the optimal temperature that you want to aim for. Now, fusion is actually a little bit easier to cool than fission is. Basically, there's coolants that you can pipe into a thing, and it's pretty easy. It's almost a little bit too easy, but that's okay. I'm down with too easy for a change. So that's your base combo for hydrogen, right? You can also do hydrogen plus deuterium, which has a longer lifetime and 44,200 versus 112K. So I mean that's more, right? Like in terms of both base power, and lifetime, like that's better in both respects, right? So would it be arguable to say that hydrogen plus deuterium is a better power generator and duration? Yes. The problem is that you need a 1-to-1 of hydrogen and deuterium. And remember, if we're just looking at the electrolyzer, you get 950 hydrogen to 50 millibuckets of deuterium, which is not in any way, shape, or form an ideal split, right? So that's a little bit of a problem. So like what we want to plan for is how we're going to like do things. Now maybe we'll have multiple fusion reactors. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's also other combinations like tritium that you'll get. So this gets you helium-3, by the way, and you can combine hydrogen and helium-3 to get helium. There's molten lithium that you can combine with hydrogen, and that'll get you tritium and helium. That's interesting. And that lasts for a while, but has a low base power, right? So that's a really long lifetime, but a really low base power. But it gets you tritium, which you can combine with hydrogen for a decent lifetime. And wow, 30 RF a tick base power? That seems really low. But I guess the benefit there is that it gets you neutron fluid. Okay. And lithium-7 gets you helium, and boron gets you helium. 2 deuteriums together get you hydrogen, tritium, helium, and neutron fluid for decent lifetime and power, right? But deuterium's hard to come by. Deuterium and tritium get you a lot of power for a good amount of lifetime, and that also gets you neutron fluid. So tritium is kind of a cool combination with deuterium. Yeah, there's lots of combinations here. Let's see, 2 tritiums get you meh power, not bad, and a long lifetime, and also neutron fluid. Tritium and helium, a decent amount of power. Like, what do we use this neutron fluid for? What is neutron fluid used for? Neutron irradiator. You can combine it with molten lithium or molten boron, and you'll get tritium and helium. Interesting. Interesting. And wow, it's a lot. It's a lot of tritium. You get a bucket of tritium for 10 millibuckets of neutron fluid. Interesting. And tritium, I think, is one of like the better fusion fuels, I think, depending on which one you combine it with. Yeah, you can get some good power out of that. 172 base, not bad. All right, so I'm looking at a few things that we need to do. I'm going to remove this crystal laser lens for a sec and put a light gray laser lens there, because the light gray laser lens focuses silver and boron. So that should up my boron production. The reason I'm doing that, I'm actually surprisingly low on boron. Actually, not surprising at all, because what I had was all my boron being melted over here so that we could make this stuff. And I expected him to back stuff sooner than he did. I'm guessing at some point he will, but you don't have a void upgrade, right? So at some point this thing should back stuff, I would think. I guess 4096 is where we need to be at, and we have 2011, or you know. So what I should have done in hindsight is probably put like a downgrade instead of an upgrade on this thing, or just not had the upgrade at all. Because, I mean, we have a lot of junk sitting in here. Probably didn't need that much backstuffed, but, you know, hindsight and all that stuff. So what I'm doing is focusing boron so that we can hopefully... yes, we're already getting some, so that's cool. Now, I believe that this one did not produce boron, but this one should. Actually, which one is which? Yeah, this guy will not produce boron, right? Is that what we determined from our nuclear craft experimentations? So nuclear craft ores I don't think are produced by the astral setup. So what I'm thinking I'll do, what level of this thing do I need for our boron dimension? Because we need a lot of boron. It might be cool to have a dimension of it, right? And this might be like a thing we can do every now and then. We can say, hey, I need a specific amount of boron, right? My problem is I don't see boron as an ore in here. We have molten boron, right? Which is cool, but I don't see boron ore. There's lots of ores, but I don't see the boron ore. That's weird that you would have draconium ore and resonating ore, like all the modded ores, but I'm not seeing the nuclear craft ores listed here. There's molten uranium from nuclear craft. Oh, that's actually immersive engineering's nuclear. All right, cool. Molten boron. So we could make a molten boron from nuclear craft fluid dimension, and then what? Like pump it up? Ooh, it's a rarity 5 though. Ouch, that does hurt a little bit. Rarity 5. Oh, also somebody said I should do something with woot. There's like a command I can run. Let's allow cheats for a minute. There was a comment about this. There's a woot command. Oh, cool. I think I got it working. So the command was woot flush all, right? And when I did that, this thing only listed the orange, blue, and purple shard thingies. But then once I placed it and let it run, it looked like it started calculating the drop chance for things. And that's when we started seeing stuff there. So that's cool. So we're actually getting dimlet parcels now from the factory art. So that's nice at least, right? So I'm guessing we've got a few dimlet parcels that we can probably open. Hooray! Jingle, jingle, jingle. How cool is that? It works. Now the dimlet parcels don't, you know, the rare stuff is, you know, arguably and rightly so rare, so it's all good. All right, so that should be off for now, but at least we got the woot thing working again. So we did have to run that woot flush command, and that got it going. Woot flush all, and that reset the woot calculations on what, you know, chances there are for items to show up from mobs. Nice. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So that got that going. Let's look at our dimlets. So, do we have a rarity 5? We have a rarity 5. We have one of these dudes. Do we have the good memory controller? I don't see a good memory dude. We have a medium memory unit and a small memory unit, but I don't see a big one. Because the only way I'm going to pull this off. How did we do on boron so far? You know what? All right, I'm gonna say never mind about the dimensional thing. If boron ore could have showed up in a dimension, I would have said sure, let's do it. But because I can't do boron ore in a dimension, I thought it would be easier to pull off than this, and it's just not. We don't have the resources for it. By the time I get it all together, I will probably have come up with all the boron that I need. So I'm not gonna sweat it. Yeah, we've got thorium coming in here now. I'm gonna turn you off for a minute, actually. Cool. Alright, you do all that stuff. Looking good. I'm pretty sure boron's on the list of things that go into this, right? Yes, it is. Nice. Do your boron stuffs. Okay, we'll let that cook and get the boron we need, because when I went to make the fusion reactor stuff that I need, now here's what I'm thinking. There's a couple sizes to this fusion reactor that we can get going. I think I usually do a size 2, is that right? So you need a lot of electromagnets for that. I think a size 2, let's see. So I'm thinking a black hole tank might be a useful thing for us, because I'm reading about how much, you know, fluid we're going to be producing and stuffs. So we want to make, I'm gonna try size 2. I don't know if I've ever made size 2, but if we're gonna do that for fusion, we're gonna need 128 reactor. All right, so we need a little bit more boron. We're getting there. Lots and lots of processing. Lots and lots and lots. I've been doing the tick accelerating. Man, just look how many tough alloys I need. I'm not extracting fast enough, so I'm like tick accelerating, and I'm gonna manually put them in. Wow, that's a lot of. That's a lot. And then I just. Whoop, and that makes the AE system think that it actually, you know, processed them. Look at it, though. Look at it, the number, though. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, are you done? Are you happy? Getting there. Now you're just crafting the advanced plating. Sweet. And here comes the fusion electromagnets. Awesome. All right, so that's fusion stuff ready to go. Let's start playing with fusion. I'm all about that. I got some fusion connectors. We do want the fusion core. So for that, we're going to need a machine chassis and some magnesium diboride solenoids. Good, we autocraft those. Cool. And then some elite plating to go along with it, and a chassis. And that should be cool. Alright guys, so I'm thinking inside this room, definitely not a big enough area for the fusion reactor that we're going to have, assuming we only have one. Haven't quite figured out my plan yet. So outside is probably the best place, and I think we can reason that makes sense, right? Like the fusion reactor is its job is basically like, yeah, do that. Goodbye. That's a fun way to do it. So the fusion reactor can be outside because it doesn't generate radiation like the fission ones do when they're inside, right? Fission ones need a room. Fusion can be outside. Yeah, let's pretend like that's a real sciencey fact. So we're gonna need our fusion core, and I forget exactly how big this thing winds up being. So let's just plop it down and figure out what happens. And I'm kind of spacing it such that you know, we can do whatever we want and have multiples of these. So that's why I'm putting it the way I am. So if I recall correctly, we're going to need doop, doop, boop, and boop, right? And then we do something like this, right? And I'm just kind of remembering. Also connected textures. Thank you for that, Nuclear Craft. That is what's up. Okay, then in addition, we do something like this, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that looks cool. Now, this is technically a size 2 reactor. Size 1 has no fusion connectors here, and a size 2 has 1 fusion connector. And this is me making sure that I mathed this out correctly. I think I did. Okay. Yeah, I think I have the right number of electromagnets. So yes, because we only have 32 left. So I definitely mathed this out correctly. So what you have to do is if you want more of these, then you'd have to have another bunch of electromagnets. And there's a wiki where you can go look and see like how many electromagnets are needed per size of reactor. Okay, so that is a completed dude, right? So if we take a look now, he should be happy-ish. And I'm thinking what I'll do is underneath the reactor is where we'll do a lot of the cooling setup, and we're going to have to figure out a bunch of things. So fusion reactor, E-magnet's not powered, and this is a complicated looking UI, but it's not terrible. These two slots right here are the input fuels. So if we, see like the input fuels, and then these 4 slots here are the output fuels. Okay. Prevent input overflow, void leftover fluids, and void output overflow. Do things. I forget exactly what. I think, yeah. So that makes it so that you, like if you're trying to put in hydrogen and deuterium, I don't think it'll let it put in like 2 hydrogens if you turn that on. And then void leftover fluid does what you would think. It just voids excess fluid that's in here. If this fluid fills up, it'll stall out the reactor. So if you want to void the excess fluid, you should probably turn that on. Void output overflow. Yeah, that's actually the one that does that. Void leftover fluid, I forget. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then the efficiency and heat comparator. You can hook up a comparator to the fusion core, and you can have it emit a redstone signal based on its heat or its efficiency. The good news is you don't really have to do that from what I remember. There's ways with passive cooling that you can just get this thing to be at perfect efficiency all the time, and we'll play with that once we get to that point. Now, the other thing we need to do to get this running is we need to pump energy into these electromagnets, and we have to charge them up, and we have to keep them powered. and that'll start burning through a lot of energy, like a real lot. So before we do that, let's pop back home. I would like to turn off... Oh, did I already turn... Yeah, I did already turn you off. All right, good. Well, that's cool, at least. Let's go check on our draconic orb thingy. And you're at 26-ish billion, and you're still doing a net gain of power, so that's cool. You know why we have a net gain of power? Because we mined for a little bit, and we found more uranium. And we started processing it, and that's cool. At least, yeah, so we've got a little bit of 238, so we're probably burning through a lot of uranium, which means that we're, you know, all our reactors are running, which is good times. Or at least most of them are probably running, right? Yeah, you've got some DBU fuel in there. You got some TBU fuel in there. That's pretty cool. I should probably remove TBU from the filter over on this one. And then you, sir, are not running, but you were because we've got some HECF in here. Cool. Okay. So we know things were working at one point. So our plan for probably next episode, because it's about the wrapping up point, is as follows. We're going to power the electromagnets around the rings. And that shouldn't be too bad, right? We should be able to do that with flux points. So we've got flux plugs, we've got flux points. I'm not going to do the plug thing yet, but if we pop the flux dudes in the appropriate spots, like here, and select the network and Darrell 20's network, he should start charging the electromagnets, and they share power pretty well. Pretty well. Cool. So you can see that doing its thing. Now, it's only connecting to this ring of magnets and this one, because there's an empty gap in the middle. So if you want to get the other two, you're going to need, conversely, this dude right here. Okay. Now, I remember them not really going all the way around, but let's see what happens. We'll give it a few minutes. And I also want to pop back home. Actually, are you chunk loaded? I feel like you should be chunk loaded over there, but let's just make sure. Is this chunk loaded? No. Close. But not. So now it is. Oh, look at all the bad guys. I forgot. Bad guys are a thing. We should maybe set up a doohickey to make no bad guys be a thing, because we are outside after all. Anyway, what's my power situation here? It's draining a lot of power, to be sure, but we're doing okay with it. So I'm okay with that. We're not like dying. What I should also do is maybe nap real quick, just so we can go back over there without mobs. So we'll get the electromagnets turned on, which, you know, we kind of did, but we're going to not leave them on until we're actually ready to run the thing, because we have a lot of work to do before we can actually kick on this nuclear reactor for sure. But clearly, it's not powering all the rings as much as I would like. So what I'm going to do is also have this and this, and that should keep all the rings going, hopefully? Hopefully? Looks like that outer ring might be a troublemaker. He looks like he's doing okay, actually. Is he getting the power he needs? Like, they're struggling to reach over to here, which is making me a little concerned. Like, they are... Is this a net gain of power, or is it, like, struggling? It seems to be struggling a little bit, but maybe? Yeah, a little bit of struggle, right? Yeah, to be safe... Yeah, see the fluctuating? Fluctuating bad. But that should help. And maybe just for funsies, we'll mirror that over on the tops as well. Okay, that works. So that should keep your magnets all going and good. 100% on board with that. So they're going to drain a decent amount of power. The other thing we have to do is pump a ton of power into this dude, and that's where things get really crazy. The magnets, not so much, but pumping power into this thing, you need to pump a lot of RF into it to start it up. But again, we're not going to do that just yet. We need to start generating the hydrogen fuel that we need, and then we're going to have to make sure that we're producing enough hydrogen fuel to actually maintain it. Cool? For now, though, Darrell 20 signing off. We'll come back next time. We'll work on all the things that we're going to need. But for now, you know what to do. Take it easy.